Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Leo to review, and I wanted to cover how C9, the 3-0 best team in the LCS, lost to the 0-3 Shopify. Now, the main focus you're going to have on is the fact that you see a Vayne mid. Yes, that is Vayne mid. He's playing it into 2 tanks, 2 HP stacking tanks, more specifically. And in theory, it can be good. It can win both sides. The problem is that he does not have a lot of space creators. He has a Maokai, he has a Renata. This is not a tank, not a tank, not a tank. Pretty much what they're going to heavily depend on is being first to their objective, and then using these like wide ass ultis, these R's from Renata and from Maokai to kind of cover. And so like they'll, let's say this is like the, I don't know, this is the dragon or whatever. Ignore this picture. It looks like a pig. Ignore the picture though. You're basically gonna take it, right? Kill it, and then dip. And then you're gonna throw your R's at them. Throw my R. That is the best way that they can kind of play out these fights until they're incredibly, like, just way stronger, or if they're always getting first move. So if Aatrox can move first, Vayne can move first in the side. That is kind of how the game's going to play out. So we'll see if they're able to do it, but why they couldn't actually do it. So they put a ward down here. The main thing to note, if you're playing like a jungle champ, like, I mean, even Maokai is like good at Raptors. Guess who's better at taking the Raptors? Lilia, and then also there's an Udyr. So these guys could late invade and contest this super easily, and they're really scared about it. That's why they ward. That's also why you see Maokai move here, and so now he's basically just eyeing, okay, well, I will move over and contest your Raptors. We also get a ward on it to ensure that if you're gonna do this, I'm gonna do this. And if I'm doing this, I have Kalista, Renata, and bot lane, and I'm gonna try to smash your bot lane. So it's advantageous for them to, like, for C9 to have their top side invaded, but Shopify aren't that stupid. So Blabber's gonna be able to start on his bot camps instead. Vayne is gonna press hard in her matchup, try to maximize as much damage as she possibly can. Meanwhile, on top side, Fudge is just playing for the wave because he's gonna have this move, and so Lilia pulled the way, like, the Raptors this way, and technically she could go up or she could go down. But either way, because Maokai is gonna move this way, it's a very way less time is like wasted for just movement wise, like the distance he has to walk. Maokai will be first, as a terrible one, first on top, which means it's beneficial for this guy to fight, right? It's beneficial for him to fight. But what you're gonna notice that happens is that he actually doesn't try to do anything. He has his Qs up right here. Can't do anything. That's fine. That contest goes out. At this point, he could try to fight harder and keep Udyr around, because most likely Udyr will not just do a straight base. If it's just a single wave falling in, it's not really good for him. It's really good for Fudge if that's the case. It's important that this wave, you know, doesn't stall for Fake God's side. But Fudge lets him do it. And so now Maokai's like, okay, well, I can't really do anything about that. This guy's able to actually move over. Maybe he warded, I don't know. And yeah, it's just, he's still able to build a wave, but like it's not fully clear for them. So Blabber doesn't want to take the risk, because Udyr can always dip first to kind of assist the situation. And since there's no play for Maokai to go up here and gank, he just has to clear. So now Vayne is just clearing these camps, right? Again, we don't know where Boogie could be. Boogie could be on the Scuttle Crab already, and Maokai doesn't want to face check. If Boogie reverse cleared, they know that Kalista never moved over to ward. They know that Renata moved over to ward, and so technically Renata could ward this or ward this. One of the two. Doesn't matter, she could have done it. But if I'm Boogie and I see a Wraith like this spotted here, most likely bot lane actually isn't covered, and so he could actually run straight bot and try to gank, and it probably would be a better option, but he goes for the mid one. He He misses. It turns into a situation where the only play Blabber really had was to counter the mid or bot play, and since he was close to the mid, it made sense to just be mid. It'd be way too late for him to come bot side. So he went mid, found this. He's gonna have a really good flash. At least I thought the flash was good. I think he actually ate the W damage still, which is actually kind of bad. If he flashed just a little sooner... Can he flash sooner? I guess that's the main thing. Can he flash sooner? Surely he can. Yeah, he can. So he went for the auto, and he still got hit. Interesting. So he still got hit, which is not great. And that definitely is going to contribute towards him dying, but the idea of the flash was good. They chase. This is all he needs to do at this point. He doesn't need to go any further. He can just start hitting the Scion. Like, she already has full lethal stacks. This Lilia is never going to walk back into the fight or else she'll die. But he actually gives her a Q, so it heals her a little bit. So now Vayne has to kind of commit her flash. But before he dies, he gets the E off, which Blabber can't dodge. And Blabber dies from it. And then, of course, what's happening bot lane is the Renata was actually sitting here with the Kalista, because they're looking to get this wave in. But ideally, if they're thinking about a play like this happening, she would be here, because Milio was already in a bad spot anyways, and he would be able to move first, but the Milio actually gets there first. So what could have been a 2-kill like situation turns into a 1-kill situation that Renata cannot finish, and it doesn't come as advantageous as it should have been. But Vayne is still in a good spot. She's 1-0. Now Blabber, he's gonna come back, and so he's gonna be able to take this crab. He sees her walking up. She's gonna take the grubs. 100%. Can't do anything about it. Grubs are gone. This guy, he got his wave in. He's happy. Cool. Whatever. He takes the dragon. Again, he's taking the dragon because he knows this guy's on it, and Renata's a fucking beast when it comes to DPS and dragon, or helping DPS dragon. He's gonna do his normal camps. They're building a wave. The first thing you would think is, okay, if you're gonna have a built wave bot, then maybe I could dive. The problem is you don't know if Lilia is gonna do this and come bot, and if she matches and you do only one camp, he's fucked. Like, he'll be way too behind in camps. It'll be really bad for Maokai. So Blabber's not that stupid. He's not gonna do it. He's gonna take his Gromp. He's gonna do his wolves. Meanwhile, this guy's getting proxy farmed. Not great. Not the worst. You know, mid is still farming decently. They get control of bot side more. Yes, he could have actually walked up and kept doing his clear upwards. And maybe if he did this, they could possibly catch Udyr, though he has Ghost. Will be a little hard. But at least will help Blabber hit his 6 like sooner, and then also be back on bot. Unlikely his bot lane will be Dove. But they decided to keep this, which I just don't really agree with, like, this idea of trying to do this. But this is how they decide to do things. They opt to hold this position, to take the Raptors away, and they're successful. They have a lot of, like I said, they have a lot of control on bot side. He gives them high presence. Technically, if this guy's tracking him well enough, he actually could just run and take the Raptors. I don't know if that's what he does. Seems like he's too scared to do it, because if Vayne falls into him, might be bad. And it's top lane, it's on base, so yeah, unlikely, but Blabber sticks on bot side, and because... I'll show it right here. Because he's kind of like making a hard read that most likely this Lilia is not going to stick on bot side after losing her Raptors. And they knew he kind of like did the Krugs too. So he will probably be on top side, in which case, oh shit, now I have a more safe like dive option. And so Berserker traits super hard, right? Really good by him. Like Milio ends up getting caught by a Q. And they finish that out. Awesome. Very diveable. Notice that Lilia is not even close to this situation. No one can TP or save them. You know, great. So they get an advantage. And of course, Blabber, you know, he's able to take a blue, take the crab. He's in a good spot. You know, he's actually done a rather good job navigating this game. C9 has done a decent job. So his camps are up top side. Naturally, he just wants to do these. He's gonna have another timer on bot side eventually. His top lane is just kind of chilling, not doing anything with that. They're now able to build another wave. Guess what? I'm not gonna do my camps. Fuck this shit. I'm gonna move down here and go for this. Because most likely, as you guessed it, Lilia will end up doing the grubs. So that's them making a read that Lilia will most likely be doing the grubs. Because if I even go further back to here, she passed into this way, doesn't show on this, maybe it's on this. Like, most likely she's on the red. Like, I guess I could say it that way. Most likely she's on the red based on their own tracking. Yeah, she could be on this, but if she doesn't show here, yeah, she could be here. But she'll die if she shows here, or she'll have to burn her R because your bot lane is already ready to move. So, yeah, they're making an advantageous situation, but they execute it really horribly. So look, here's the wave you're playing on. This is the wave. He presses R. Now, keep in mind, the person who should tank in this situation is Renata, because she has the Kalista R. So she should tank, and they'll be fine. What Blabber does is Blabber throws R before this wave comes in. He should actually just be standing here, and even Wayne in here, and then he has this to always go in. They will be fine. They will get these kills no matter what. He goes too early, gets Milio queued, Renata Ard, or no, not Ard, Varus Ard, and he dies. This guy ends up having to tank, and it turns out horrible. So, yeah. Also, Sion switched to TP. Like, he used his heal spell, so he had TP, which helps, but at the same time, this situation was already doomed for C9. Without Sion being involved, they literally lost the 2v1 dive. And keep in mind, Varus also has tabbies, so he will survive a little bit longer than usual. So that was their first big mistake by C9. Up till this point, they've actually been outplaying Shopify for the most part. Blabber has, for the most part, done a good job having. And Boogie has been okay, but has made a few possibly not as good choices. So now we go from this point. Aatrox is going Profane Hydra. Really bad item on him. Really not good for this game either. He's not going to be as useful. They use yet another wave to get the second dragon. So they're stacking dragons. They're first on the objective always. You know, it's exactly what you want. So now, these guys see these guys see Varus top. Okay, we got to match our dual lane to them. This is fine. You know, Vayne is still mid. That's okay. You want to get into a side lane eventually. She bases. We're not sure if these guys are going to still be up here. But at this point, you know, you gotta start making adjustments. Like they have to find a timing to get Vayne out of here and let her start doing her thing in the side lane. Like, because at this point, her champ's not that useful. Like, now that these guys are here mid, she can't do well. And so this is probably the timing where they're gonna do it. Vayne goes mid. Now she just has to operate as she does. So what they do is they have Herald coming up, right? They decide to skip the mid wave and go straight bot. Even though they're decently strong, Varus is much stronger though. And they play for the Aatrox. And so they're able to get a kill and like take this guy out, but they get Herald. He's able to crash this in, and Vayne cannot defend mid for shit. So where could they have done this differently? Could they have switched this differently? If I go to this point here, honestly, is it worth to send Kalista topside? Because they took the dragon, they're late towards topside, and there's still plates to be had. So they have to defend this. And in many ways, this, you could say that maybe this dragon is not the best. Perhaps this is not the best. Perhaps it's not good the fact that Kalista coming down here takes this, that's fine, takes this. You take the dragon. you know, you just don't keep them bot. Like, you can trade this out. You can let the Varus hit top. You can let Kalista just hit bot and just kind of play it out for that and dive very easily because you have Kalista R, you have Renata W. You're a far superior diving team. Of course, your Aatrox is extremely useless with his items into enemy comp, but there's some benefit towards just sticking to the lanes and kind of finishing out because you're already ahead on the curve. But since they're opting to match, it becomes a little awkward because, again, Vayne is like, well, I don't want to be here necessarily. And we're not, like, now we don't really have the control that we want to have because we're late towards topside and my Maokai is doing the camps and we did the dragon. So they're slow to to be able to respond up here. Let the map play out. Now they're finally like, okay, this guy's moving in first. Now we're getting control, but guess what? It's too late. Now these guys are back mid. Now the Varus, after they had the tempo on top side, now they're back mid. Push this guy out. The Aatrox is chilling here. Now the Vayne's like, okay, now I can go side. But guess what? You're late on mid again. So they use this turn to cheat this. This is like where they did this, right? They're trying to like get initiative back on the map, but they're forcing a play down here, which is not good because the champ they have here can't do anything. So they end up losing the turret and then losing this turret just to do this play when they're the team that is actually in a fine state. But then this is where it gets worse. So let me show this. This is where it gets worse. So the Kalista finishes this wave up. Aatrox is fine, you know, he did this, he just has to collect the wave, perfectly fine. At this point, Vayne does not want to be mid. Like, it's very clear at this point, she already was late on another timer and it was kind of awkward because they decided to match. But the fact that she does this wave and then she does the next wave, Kalista has no job. This is Kalista's wave. So since she's taking this wave over Kalista, you know, Shopify are like, well, okay, we're gonna rush topside. They get a little pick here. Yeah, Vayne can shove this out, but no one can respond to the bot wave, and then no one can respond. Like, the person who's responding to the top wave is the Kalista. And again, you know, yes, they're both 80 carries. Like what's the big deal? This guy has the Kalista bond with Renata. Like, he is the go-getter. He's the guy who actually makes the situation happen. So the lane assignment is really awkward and not beneficial to C9 at all. And so now, you know, we don't have a Vayne who's able to deep push the top wave because honestly, he should have just went top and the Aatrox should have collected one wave, based, gone mid into bot side. So the Aatrox would have been down here, or he actually could have just stayed top because he has TP as well. Let me show this real quick. Because this is like pivotal. This is where things like really fall apart. He could stay up here and she can do the wave if she wants. And then she can actually already head towards bot side even because this guy will push this out. Match him. Aatrox chills with his TP just waiting. And then Kalista takes over mid with the Maokai base coming back. And it looks way better. But it's only because this guy's like contesting this forward and that's just like not sacking. And then also the Vayne just wants to keep pushing up mid. That, yeah, this is really weird. It's just really, really weird. And so they're still able to get first control. It's just they're not growing their lead as much as they could with the advantage they have with Vayne. And so this is like where, like I said, like how their comp will play out fights. They're first on the objective. They burn the dragon, right? And then they throw out their abilities and they get it. And they're fine, right? Here's the downside. So the Udyr is here and he can buy some time. The Aatrox actually goes a little bit too hard. That was the part where he should not do. At this point, everything else was fine, but Fudge should not have done this. He gets tagged. It turns into a weird situation. Vulcan multiple times kind of goes a little bit too far. They get hit by the Lilia. And yeah, they just died. Now this is really important because Now that the advantages they had, like these like deaths are adding up, their comp's really bad if they don't have control. If they can't get any control, they're like, what do? They don't have good engage. They can't like defend waves that properly because they have Callista and Vayne and Aatrox. Like there's nothing they can do. So now they're laning heavily on the side laning of Vayne, but these guys just use Herald and they just rush this down because it's like, well, again, what are you going to do? So they're able to actually just brute force this off the comp situation. But again, okay, these guys go too hard. Shit, C9 has a chance, right? They go in, they fight. Really big Renata R. Oh my god, it looks so good. And then, for whatever reason, Vulcan goes super deep, and then he just dies. And now what was advantageous becomes even. Okay. Well, now we need to worry about Baron, because these guys can always just do Baron, and Dragon's coming up. Okay. The map plays out. Oh, these guys are first on top side. Why? Because of this situation, right? This guy's also taking his base because he wants to get his second item. So now at this point, it's not a good timer to fight. Kalista just based. But what is JoJo doing? Fighting on top side. Fighting on a timer in which they should not be fighting. Well, that sucks. Vayne got chunked out. Now they have more control because we just did top side and they couldn't control themselves. And who face checks? The Renata tries to face check. This guy throws the Udyr R, which zones everyone. This guy just runs in. Naturally, you have to kind of just kite back. Aatrox can't do anything if he gets like focused, and he's also Profane Hydra, so he's only damage. And they lose the fight. And from there, the game's over. That's it. That was literally the game. That's how quickly C9 lost this game. And unfortunately, this is just what happens when you play a high execution comp. They have to be on their asses with the right assignments, with the right way to contest objectives, be on time, all that stuff needs to be on top of it. And if it is, in theory, they win. But the problem is players make mistakes, people aren't always perfect, and SR's comp is really good at punishing, you know, these kinds of champs if they fail. And in the end, they did fail. Because as you notice, they revolve into doing a 2v1, like two side laners in the same lane. But that's it. So what were their main issues? Obviously, the first thing people are going to talk about is the first bot dive. Actually, it wasn't even the first bot dive. It was just the bot dive, right? The one before this is Blabber's 2v2 execution, because he didn't have to die, plus Vulcan involvement. So this is the first one. This is the second one. The big one, the really big one, is JoJo side laning. JoJo side laning, and then also the match swap. The match swap into the... Where is it? Oh god. Match the swap into the Udyr dive. This was really bad. Udyr dive, and then finally, the icing on the cake, Fudge Dragon fight. These are all the things I can think of like from watching this game that had clear issues. Like I'm gonna say it right now, this bot dive, it was bad. It was obviously really bad to miss execute it in the first place. But this actually was not the nail in the coffin. Like it was the 3, the 4, the 5, the 6, like all these consecutively in a row were all just terrible misplays, and not even just misplays, but just reading the map, like how things should go in theory. And of course the Aatrox build was terrible. kind of just all turned into this like horrible mess. And yeah, that's why C9 lost. Thanks for watching.